right, my lovelies. Hello and
Morning.
welcome to episode 23 of Mortgage News Live, coming to you from London town this week. So thank you for joining us, and thanks always to our sponsors, MPowered. We have another intriguing show lined up this morning where we'll be discussing the market generally and getting into the whole lender versus broker debate. This time it's personal. We have a gregarious galaxy of superheroes to discuss this with you. So, first off, the summer is all but over. Anyone else noticed it gets darker earlier these days? The Olympics and Euros are distant memory, and millions of us have spent the weekend hanging on an online queue for hours to try to get something we want, only to be disappointed. Mind you, as mortgage brokers, we should be used to that, eh, lenders, eh? Ka-ching. Wish I had a drum sound. The mortgage market has evolved into a more positive place, however, over the past couple of months, with lenders actually engaging in rate reductions that, whilst not an all-out rate war, is more than a light skirmish. Sentiment is everything in the property and mortgage markets, and with borrowers now much more comfortable with the new lending landscape, many in these markets are now cautiously optimistic about the future. The biggest worry, however, is a political one, as reality is dawning that we have a Labour government determined to press through an agenda, whatever the cost. The last person who did that did not end well, and we can only hope that the Halloween budget does not deliver a house of horrors that derails the positivity train. Could we actually see a reverse trust scenario where they stifle the economy too much? Some of the biggest concerns around capital gains tax, which the Institute of Public Policy Affairs has already said should be equalised up to the 40% income tax level for higher rate taxpayers. Landlords and second property owners are also worried, and I have heard of several buyers pulling out of large million-plus purchases for fear of what comes next. VAT on private schools, potential changes to inheritance tax, non-dom rules have all had an effect at the higher end of the market. Against this backdrop, relationship is more important to cultivate than ever. And whilst there is some definite successes, there are some worrying creakings and mutterings amongst brokers. But this is exactly what we are here to discuss. So enough of my frivolous frivolity, and to my lovely guests. Joining us are Charles Calvert, who's a founder and director of Easy Mortgages. Hello, Charles.
Hello, Monty. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Lishelle Aisha Samra, Key Account Manager, MPowered. Hello, Lishelle.
Morning. And again, to echo Charles, thanks for having me on today.
It's a pleasure. And also a pleasure to welcome the inimitable Pam Brown, who is the owner of Pam Brown Mortgages. Hello, Pam.
Good morning, Monty. How the devil are you?
All right, just about. So let's get down to business then. And also, by the way, for those listening, watching, any comments, any questions, put them in the chat and we'll try and get to as many as possible. But first of all, how have you found returning after the summer? Is there still positivity out there? Or actually, are you finding that there's a little bit of negativity creeping in because of the budget? Charles, go on. You're top left on my screen, so you can go first.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. So I think there is a lot of positivity in the market at the moment. As you've said recently, interest rates are coming down. We're pretty much across the board. There's not a rate war, but lots of lenders are reducing them. Lots of 5-year fixed with a 40% deposit are now well in the threes now, which is a much more palatable level for clients especially. So I think that is bringing some positivity and it is getting the market moving. It's been a good year up to now anyway, really, for us. And we're predicting hopefully this Q3 is going to be really, really good as well, Q4. We're hoping to have a good end to the year. There is a little bit of worry, I suppose, in the air as well, mainly because of, like you said, a Labour government coming in. What's going to happen as far as the economy and so on? Is that going to have an effect?
Pam, what about you guys?
We're buzzing. August started really quiet the first couple of days, and I just thought it's August. Within, I'm not joking, Monty, within about the 5th or the 6th day of the month, the phones did not stop ringing.
That's good.
It's been a really good August, and it's looking to be a really good September. We're resilient, aren't we? The mortgage market. We do this the whole time, but I think we wipe our own bottoms by the end of it. It's just a brilliant. It's a brilliant feeling when the phone keeps ringing and it's first time buyers, and that's what we're getting at the moment. We're having I don't think I've ever seen that many first time buyers in August in my career, in my 21 years. That's how busy it's been for us with first time buyers.
That's interesting. What is driving those first time buyers? That's what I'm interested in. Remind everyone what sort of area you geographically? What geographical area?
We're in Bicester, next to Bicester Village. So we do. We're about 2 minutes from Bicester Village. So
a lot of shopping.
A lot of shopping, as you know, I like. But we have I do a lot of the Bicester Village staff, which are not UK. So we have a lot of Polish, a lot of Romanian, a lot of Bulgarian. We have a lot of different countries come into Bicester Village and working. So they come over and they think, oh gosh, the rates are going to be less. And when they realise that they're not moving or that everyone else is buying, they buy. Does that make sense?
That does. Yeah.
If your friends are buying or your circle of friends are all renting, then you tend. Do you know what I mean? You tend to rent, and I think we're very lucky with Bicester Village. It brings us a lot of business, and people come over here to work, save their deposit, and then buy, and that happens consistently throughout Pam Brown Mortgages time. So we're seeing a lot of first time buyers from 22 to 52, literally.
Yeah. And Charles, what's your area?
Well, I'm based on the south coast, in between Portsmouth and Southampton. So most of my clients are in the Hampshire area, but I've helped clients in London, Manchester, anywhere really. People find me all over the place, but most of my clients are in the Hampshire area. And like Pam said, I'm definitely seeing a big influx in first-time buyers this year. Whether it's because there's quite a few 5% schemes available, or whether it's because I'm doing quite a lot of shared ownership as well. So it just seems first-time buyers seem to have that confidence now to get on.
They do.
Which is really good, because they're obviously the lifeblood of the industry, aren't they?
We need
exactly. Is that Lichelle? What about from a lender perspective? How's things kicked off? Does it echo what these guys are seeing?
It's been pretty stable, I think. I think the expectation was that we might be a little bit quiet, because you generally are over the summer when there's holidays, people are taking a bit of time out. But I think from my perspective, we've been quite stable. I've seen quite a few queries come through, including first-time buyers. So it's good to see that they are now moving a little bit. I think there's been a lot of first-time buyers or second property owners, spoken to brokers about buy-to-let investors as well, sitting on their hands, just waiting to see what happens. And I think for those who have sat on their hands for quite a while and have realised that the rates are now starting to come down, and there, as you said before, Charles, it's about confidence. It's about understanding that we're in a place where we're seeing the decline. There was a bit of, I suppose, apprehension about what's going to happen with the government and the Labour and their view on the housing market. So I think now I think that's the key word, confidence, as we're coming now towards the end of Q3, Q4. It's picking up and has been quite stable, but with a variety of different things. I'm not seeing personally more of one than the other myself.
What do you think the year's going to do? Do we think that Q4 is going to look attractive? Is that what I mean? That's all I'm hearing.
I hope better than Q4 last year. Definitely Q4 last year, as I'm sure it was very quiet after the whole fiasco. It definitely had an impact. I was very quiet. November and December last year was very quiet, and luckily January hit, and this year just went up and up and up, and it's been great. So I'm hoping it'll continue. We usually always have a quieter December, but as long as we can stay busy up until the end of November, that would be fantastic.
I mean, I hope that that the budget doesn't derail things. I don't as someone who is unashamedly champagne socialist, I don't like what they're doing in talking down the economy at this moment. I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's helpful for them to do that. Just on the first-time buyer point, it's quite interesting, because is it a fact that actually rates of there's that discussion that a lot of people are having at the moment? Do I wait because interest rates might fall a little bit lower, or actually by waiting, when there's more demand on the market, does that mean house prices will be higher? So
we're hearing that a lot.
Yeah.
We're hearing that. I think because the rates are a tiny bit better, that conversation's slightly less now for me. When the rates were sort of, 4 months ago, when the rates were higher, we heard that a lot. But now the rates are stable. I mean, they start with a 4. We're hearing that conversation less now for me.
I agree. Yeah. I think people that were waiting are now starting to come back. People that I spoke to 3 months ago and they were getting 5 point or 6 point something, and now come back and oh my God, I can get 4.9 or 5.2, and now they're happy to go ahead. It sounds
it's interesting how the brain re-anchors itself.
Exactly right. And I always say to my clients, it's going to take a few months before you complete anyway, 3 to 4 months usually before you get the keys and you move in. In that time frame, we may drop rates 2 or 3 more times, and if I do it for you, I'm going to make sure that I can keep updating that offer to make sure you've got the lower rate. So there's no real point waiting 6 months. Might as well do it now.
That's what I say. I say to everyone that comes to us, once you use us, the worst case scenario is today's rates. Because if they get better in the next however long it takes you to exchange, then I'm going to change your rate for you. And I think that's really important part of using a broker. I stand on everything to say to people, use a broker, because we're worth our weight in gold when it comes to saving you money if there's money to be saved.
Just for that one reason you just mentioned, never mind all the other reasons, just for that very one reason it's worth using a broker.
And also it's our job. I'm not a dentist. I can't tell a dentist how to pull a tooth out. A dentist can't tell me how to do a mortgage. It's our job. It's what we do every single day.
Exactly.
I'm passionate about helping people much more than them trying to do it themselves and fumbling along the way and getting a rate that isn't very good. It infuriates me.
I love you guys. I love it. This is why I love doing this, because I hear there's such great people out there. So I know that there has been some innovation in the market. You mentioned it a bit before. Obviously, we've got like Skipton track record mortgage, 100%. They've just changed some things. Atom Bank in April now doing 6 times income. Halifax now 5.5. There's been new long-term fixes. There've been tech initiatives from people like Generation Home, and of course MPowered. Is there enough of that innovation in the market? And actually, what do brokers want? Because a lot of us talk about, oh, we just need this. We want more. We want more. We want more, without being very specific, defined about actually what we want. So brokers, what do we want? What's missing from the market? What do we want more of?
Okay, I'm happy to jump in if you like. I think there is a lot of innovation in the market, and there is a lot of products out there and a lot of schemes and all sorts. I think people just aren't necessarily aware of all the things that are aware. So I think it's great, again, going to a broker, because someone like myself or Pam and so on, we can educate clients on all these weird and wonderful schemes that can actually help people get on the market. The track record, for example, is great. I think it's a fantastic scheme, but only really for clients that are renting in London, I found, because all my clients that are renting in Hampshire, if they're paying £600-700 a month, they're not going to get a very big mortgage, because it's all based on obviously the rental that you're paying, and it just isn't helping them in that regard. The one which I'm using all the time, which Pam is as well with first-time buyers especially, is Helping Hand. Nationwide's Helping Hand.
That's really good, isn't it?
Way more than anyone else to my clients. So I'm finding clients are coming to me, as long as they're earning over the minimum threshold, they're getting 5.25 times, whereas other lenders are giving them 4.5 or 4.75. And that, I think I probably did 5 Helping Hand mortgages last month. So they're getting so much business just because of that loan to income. So if other lenders can start pushing up a bit. We've seen house prices have gone up so much, but wages haven't. Now, that means something's going to have to give. Lenders are going to have to start increasing the income multiple, and that's what Nationwide do, and I do a lot of that.
So Halifax obviously now go up to 5.5 times for certain. You got 6 times income from a couple of lenders like Atom, and it's quite interesting if you look at actually the track record, and a lot of these lenders now, it looks like there's confidence in the housing market, certainly in house prices. All the talk from people who said, oh, it's going to fall 20% is a load of rubbish. So, because if you look at the changes to the track record, for example, they're now doing 100% on new build flats, which is something that's quite incredible. So there is innovation out there. But Pam, anything more that
we want from lenders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think accessing. I think we had this. Charles and I have discussed about this. This is my biggest bugbearer. Being able to access somebody not on a live chat, that is a BDM that you can ask the questions to. So accessibility for me is huge. You have some lenders who are absolutely fantastic. Halifax, for instance, hands down. They don't do anything wrong, really. And then you have other lenders that you can't get through to an underwriter. It comes through on a stupid email and they ask silly questions. And then you just think, oh, my God. I just think you need to be able to access somebody that you can talk to, because I think an email, you can decipher something completely different from that email, can't you? If you have someone that you can talk to, an underwriter that you can talk to, personally, I think that's the way forward. Being able to speak to an underwriter or someone who's checking the documents, I think that would make our jobs a million times easier.
And I think, following on from that, on the lender-broker relationship, I thought it was very strong. And I thought since COVID, actually, it's got stronger and stronger, especially sort of if I separate in the office from out of the office, especially in some of the amazing things being done out of the office on D&I, the brilliant
the
brilliant Amy Mentor scheme with Mortgage Solutions Diff Initiative and IMLA and all of that stuff, lenders, brokers, etc., working really well. But on a day-to-day basis, are cracks appearing? So we've seen stuff like NatWest dual pricing, which got a big boo. Brokers complaining that some lenders don't listen and making strange decisions. And I don't want this just to be a broker versus lender debate, but is that some of the angst that you guys are feeling before I bring Lishelle into it?
Charles, can I go this one first?
Go on, Pam. I know you're chomping at the bit.
Okay, I can't stand when and this is not getting at anyone because I love my lenders completely. I can't stand when they do give the client a different rate and then they try to say, oh, we've got a quarter of or whatever it is, a tiny minuscule amount better if you come direct with us. To me, that's not treating customers fairly, because if you give them a rate today, is that still going to be the best rate in 6 months' time? Because whichever lender is going to do that, they name, nameless, are they going to phone the client and say, guess what, next week, Friday, we've pulled our rates and we're going to get you on a better rate? No. So you're asking the client to then constantly check on their own mortgage, to constantly make sure that they've got the best deal. Brokers do that. I can't tell you how much that infuriates me, Monty, because it's just not treating your client fairly. They're going to get a tiny bit better in the beginning, but by the end of the day, I bet you any money, if they paid the 199 fee or whatever it is for the broker to check it 55 times before they complete, we'll be able to get them a better deal. So I think it's bad blood, and I don't think you should cut the nose off to spite your face. Whatever the hand that feeds you, or whatever you want to say. I think that if you've got the business from a broker, give it back to the broker and let the broker look after the client. Not that I'm vocal about that.
No, I know. I hate it when you sit on the fence, Pam.
Sorry.
So I agree with you, but my job is to play devil's advocate. It's not treating customers fairly. I agree when you have that dual. But what if it's because for ages brokers had it the other way around, didn't they? They had broker exclusives, which were better going through a broker than direct. Yeah. Still do accordingly. So is that? I'm a big believer in actually we should just have a level playing field. And then the customer really does choose. They're not forced to go to broker. They're not forced to go direct. They're not forced to go online and get no advice, which is so dangerous. And in my mind, if you're a lender doing that, I think you're opening yourself up.
So do I, Monty. I completely agree. You're opening yourself up to somebody complaining and saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. I had a client, we charge £199 to do product transfers. We didn't charge anything before, but now, because we have to obviously change it so many times, we now charge only £199. I had a client that went on to complete this month and he didn't want to pay the £199. And he said, well, you never charged me before. And I said, obviously, blah, 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 blah. We now have to do extra work. The only client that ever complained, he completed on a 6-something% because he didn't want to pay the 199 fee. And by the time he completed, it was 4.2 or something. And you just think, oh my God, for 199. That, and because he went direct to the lender, and the lender didn't tell him they'd reduce the rates.
Yeah.
I think it's about informed decisions. It's allowing the client to have the options to make an informed decision. And I'm like you, Pam, and you mentioned before, I love helping people. And as a BDM, I cannot stress the importance of brokers and using brokers, especially in today's market. And I think that clients, when they go direct to a lender, they may have that initial conversation, but are they really getting that passion behind that conversation to really want to help and support them? And in some cases, being realistic, I don't think that they are. We'd like to think that they do. But all that work, especially now with how quick rates are changing, the clients aren't aware of all the input behind that 199 fee. And you really trying to make sure that they're getting the best deal, they're getting the right advice, not just for now, because yes, we know there are clients who favour lower rates and lower mortgage payments, but it's about looking at the future and understanding what that looks like and what you can provide to them as options. So it's all about informed decisions, and we're broker centric, so we only deal with brokers who don't deal direct with clients. So we're of the mindset that it is just going to be that one rate, and that's what the client's going to have via yourselves. And just when we want to keep it like that, and just make sure we're supporting yourselves as the broker network and also the customers in doing it right.
I think that's the best way. I think dual pricing just it's just not right at all. Like you said, like Pam said, it makes clients think, oh, well, I get a better deal if I go direct. But then come 6 months down the line when they actually switch, they're on a better rate because the lender wouldn't have updated it 15 times like we would have. And having exclusives, again, it's nice when you've got the exclusive, but I don't think they're a great idea either, because you're then basically pitching broker against broker. And we're not trying to compete against each other. We're all trying to give a good service to our clients and look after our own client back. We're not trying to poach off each other all the time. And if you've got exclusives, you might have a client you've done 2 or 3 mortgages for. They then come back to you and they say, but actually there's a better rate available, we can't get it. And they may even consider leaving you for someone else just because of the network that you're with, which doesn't seem fair when you're you've given them a great service and you've already done 3 mortgages for them.
I don't know about you, Charles, but whoever said business isn't personal is stupid. This is my business. It is when it's your business. It is me. It is something I am passionate about. I'm passionate about people walking in my door and knowing that I've got their back. That's what I'm passionate about. Walk out. They've had the best service, the best advice, and the best products. That's what you want to know you've done for your client. I never want someone to walk out my door thinking, oh, she's just doing it for money, because I'm not. I'm doing it because I want to know that client's details in 25 years' time. They're my friends. A lot of them are my friends. I want to know, I want to look after them. And that's a major difference when you use someone like us compared to going direct to. It's
not transactional, is it? We look after them.
So are we as brokers, because you guys should be on a TV advert basically just for why use brokers, but are we actually getting that message out to the public effectively, or are we not? And is there actually, you look at the broker-lender relationship, there are lots of differences within brokers as well in terms of this message. So is it that actually lenders are able to take advantage, maybe that's a little bit unfair, because the broker community is not 100% together?
Yeah, because I don't think lots of brokers, oh God, I'm going to sound really horrible now, and I don't mean to sound horrid, but I don't think that every broker is brilliant, Monty. I really don't. I think
we see that from the stats, because if you look at some of the retention stats, a couple of lenders will say only 40% of their repeat business comes back from the same broker. 60% comes back from a different broker, which tells you quite a lot.
That's exactly, it tells you. I think that you're lucky to get, God, this sounds like I'm unique selling point here, and I don't mean it like that, but you're lucky to get a broker that cares. You're lucky to get a broker that, and I think that comes across, doesn't it? It comes across as a person that you actually care about the person in front of you.
Exactly. I think as well, we've all got different business models. Some are religious about recontacting their clients, staying in contact, contacting them 6 months before every single fixed rate that ends, making sure you're putting a PT in place, reviewing it all. And some brokers don't necessarily, they do it, they treat it as more as a transaction, possibly. Maybe they just do the mortgage and then off they go on to the next one. And it could be the difference as well when it's, like Pam said, when it's your business or when you're self-employed, you might have more time and more love for your clients and your business than maybe if you are an employed broker that's doing 30 mortgages every single month non-stop, then it might be a bit more transactional. And
also if you're targeted, sorry, Monty, if you're targeted, if you're an estate agent, for instance, again, we'll remain nameless, but if you're just an estate agent and you're targeted to do everything, solicitors, you know what I mean? And
it's a spreadsheet. How many solicitors, instructions, and mortgages?
I can't target myself. I don't advertise. I don't do anything. It's just word of mouth. So I can't target my own word of mouth. I just have to try and then hope they recommend me. That's what I can do.
Yeah. So, Lachelle.
Yes. No, I think it's about humanization, because when you talked about the 199 fee as an example, your client is getting the service at that moment in time, but it's about the after service. It's about are you looking after and making sure that client's best interests are factored in. So we're all busy and there's so much going on in life that we'll forget the date of our mortgage is coming up for renewal, or we'll forget that the insurance is due for renewal. So you're there sense checking and supporting that client beyond that conversation, beyond that particular rate change, whatever the scenario is. And I think that's what clients aren't fully aware of. And I think it's changed a lot in the past few years, especially since COVID. And so now people are more aware of the value of brokers, but I think it does need to be talked about a lot more. And I think lenders, it baffles me sometimes when you understand the business that brokers supply to lenders and the support that they provide back to the brokers. They're missing tricks. It's so obvious in some cases. And when I speak to brokers and talking to yourself about contact points, the value in having those relationships with your BDMs, or whether they're in the field, whether they're telephone BDMs, or just being able to reach out to somebody to provide that client with that journey of support along the way is super valuable. And some lenders, again, no names, are missing the tricks with this massively, especially when the amount of their business comes majority from brokers anyway.
And then they try to say cost cutting or something, don't they? And you just think, no, you're not cost cutting. It's a pretty ridiculous thing to say. You're going to get more money from brokers if you look after them. You're going to get more business from brokers if you look after them. It's plain as day.
It's tried and tested throughout the years, for decades. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's by the way, just a reminder that if you are watching, you want some comments or questions, please do engage. I think this whole debate is fascinating, and as I said, look, as brokers, we're not perfect, although I should have a halo over my head somewhere.
You are perfect. You are.
There you go. We're not perfect. I, for one, am nowhere near perfect. Let me get that absolutely straight. I'm awful. But from your point of view, then, as a lender, what do you need more of? What do you want more of from brokers? What don't we understand? What we're not getting in this relationship? Because it is a two-way thing, and I sometimes I hear things from brokers and I think, oh, really? You're just missing the point. And I'm not, I will hammer a lender as much as anyone. I'll do it in my own way, and usually behind closed doors, as a lot of lenders will tell you. But what, from a lender perspective, what do you need more from us?
I think it's a case of honesty and transparency. The relationship we know is valuable between your BDM and your broker, and I think we need to have more access to understand what your pains are and how we can support that. So feedback is massive. Us as a lender, we welcome the feedback, and that's really how we look at who we are as a business and how we move forward. So it's about you communicating with us what's working well, what's not working well, as a generalization. When we're talking about specifics, so submitting business to us, it's about you understanding that just like yourselves as the broker and network are different in terms of your business models and how you do business, is the same with us from lender to lender. So it's understanding and appreciating that while we might not do what other lenders do, we're still here to support you. We're still open for business. So work with us to be able to provide that option to you and your client, and get that case submitted and to offer and completion as quickly as possible with the least bit of turbulence in between. So I suppose meetings, showing how to use tools that are available to you, and accepting those tools and those changes and being open to those changes to work with us, because we all know there's brokers out there who are very stubborn. They've done things the same way for many years, and that, you know, we've got amazing technology and enhancements, as you mentioned earlier, Monty.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at how we can support clients and yourselves in submitting business, work with us to be open to that, and it's only going to be a success, because the more that we have in terms of the feedback, then the more that we can make those changes and move on. So I think overall, just continue to work with us and provide us with positive and constructive criticism where needed to support the journey forward.
That's good. And yeah, you mentioned about tech and systems, and I know you guys don't have this problem because you have incredible tech. How long can systems?
A halo there when you said that.
Yeah, but how long can systems be an excuse for everything? And is because we hear that a lot as brokers, and I do understand, having had a failed attempt to build technology ourselves, which it just don't do it, never do it. It's a money pit and it never worked. So we do understand the difficulties with it, but some lenders, we've been having the same excuse around systems for ages. And whenever you try to do something, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's a PT and they want to change from repayment to interest only, we can't do it. You can only do it direct. Really?
You can only do it direct.
After all these years?
Really? It's legacy issues.
And I had that yesterday from a lender, and I'm like, oh, really? I just, it doesn't make sense to me after all this time.
I think it's legacy issues, because a lot of lenders have these old systems and they've got bolt-ons that they add along the way, and it does restrict them from doing certain things. And when you're looking at ourselves in the market, comparing ourselves to high street lenders and how quick you can submit business via our systems, and then you're going to work on one of the other systems with a high street lender, and you feel the difference, because time is money to yourself. So we're trying to cut that time down you're spending, keying things in. So I think lenders have got to really listen and understand the needs to change, update, or amend, however they do that, to provide you with those tools to be able to submit business, because it shouldn't be an excuse, systems. And I suppose it depends which side you're on, because we've had brokers as well, you know, oh, the system didn't let me do this, and it's maybe because they're not keying something in right. So it's all about being open to understanding how to use a system to get the best out of it, to get the quickest out of it. But I think there are lenders out there who do use systems as an excuse. And I think where we are now, especially with AI technology that we have and we use to support our business, there shouldn't really be any excuse now, because there's a lot of money out there that they can invest in it. And so it's just a case of just cracking on with it. So I've worked with a few high street lenders, big lenders, and they've, for the past 10 years, they've been talking about changing their systems, and it's still not happened. So I think, there needs to be a lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot of their systems are very buggy as well, aren't they? They have a lot of issues. I mean, I must waste probably 5 hours a week of resubmitting, rekeying, all sorts. When you've submitted that page and then it's just gone error, and you have to go back a page or re-log in and go back to that page and click next again. And this is all, it's not on every application, but it's very often, you know, that you're always getting error messages. I did a PT with, I won't say the name of the lender, but a lender last week, and it just wouldn't work at all. Like, we had to raise it with their IT department. They still couldn't fix it. The client had to go direct and do it themselves. They did still pay Easy Mortgages the procuration fee because it wasn't our error, but that's an awful service to my client. He wasn't happy. And again, it's all down to IT issues.
Do you think they're not changing their systems because they're still getting the business and they don't need to?
Yes,
You know,
they make a lot of money, a lot of profits. And
yeah.
I'm gonna stick up for lenders there. I don't think so.
Monty, be careful.
I don't think it. I think there are budgetary constraints. I don't think they're sitting there. And I think what brokers have to remember is the people that we deal with all the way up on the broker side are on our side.
Oh, 100%.
They're 100% on our side. They're trying to get these changes through. The problem comes when you go up a level, especially in the bigger behemoths, who still do not really understand brokers.
Correct. Only someone who works with us understands. That is a
massive issue, and some of the battles I hear between top level and even higher level is quite interesting. But I think it's I don't think they're deliberately sitting there and thinking, our system is crap and we know it. And we're fine with that. I actually don't think that.
It's interesting that you said that the people that work with us, of course, they wanted to make it easier. Of course, they don't want phone calls from us a million times a week. But it is interesting what you just said about the people above them that still don't know what we're like or how we work or the problems that our level have.
Yeah, and it's not something that resonates with them. They just might see, I think part of this broker-lender relationship potential issue at this moment is people very high up are looking down and going, what do you mean 85% of our business goes through brokers? That's crazy. What are our branches?
Look how much we could save if we did this,
I think there's a perception of save, and I will argue, as I'm sure you will, that actually you will save more paying a prop fee to brokers because trading people advice risk alone is a big thing. But
and also, you just said, Monty, about going into the people at the top thinking or going to branches and stuff. There's no bloody branches anymore. I'm literally in the middle of
online.
You have to go on telephone and you'll be sat on hold for an hour. So.
I know. And I like seeing people. I'd like to see what I'm doing rather than just sit online and do it. So I can't imagine and I'm only 52. I can't imagine what someone who's 65 wants to
You're never 52.
52, Monty.
You look amazing, Pam. Amazing.
Unbelievable. I'm only 48. I can't believe it. What else was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought there. So yes, this is what I wanted to bring in, and this is a little controversial. So we talked about systems being an issue. Actually, is part of the issue for lenders now that people are working from home, and people are just not as productive when they work from home. I know some people will be angry about that.
They will.
And I think it does depend on your job and your job role. Self-employed broker, do you know what? You want to work, you want to earn.
Right.
If you're an employed person in a big company working from home, are you less productive? If you're an underwriter working from home without your team around you, are you asking more questions because there's no one you can talk to and say, actually, do you know what? Can you just help me on this one? And they'll go, oh yeah, don't worry about that, or just ask for this. Is that part of the issue? Discuss. Michelle, let's take a lender view first.
It's difficult because it depends which side of that fence you're on, because you could be working from home and be super efficient. You could be in your zone. You've got peace around you, whether it be music and whatever it is that helps you get through your workload in that day. And then you've got some who will take advantage of out of sight, out of mind. And try and use that in whatever way they can to be less productive for whatever reason. So it depends which side of the fence you're sitting on. I think as somebody who's done both, I do feel like you've said, Monty, it does add value when you're in the office and you've got quick questions. You can just shout it over the top or ask your colleague next to you. As well as that, you can all have, it's the camaraderie in the office as well. It's the the sense of teamwork, and it just creates a better environment, in my view, when you're amongst your colleagues or your peers. I think I've got friends who work from home and they prefer working from home, and they have been less productive in a lot of cases. But that's where I suppose it's for the business to understand the needs of that role and if it is better working remotely or not. And I think for as a BDM, as brokers, working out in the field, going face-to-face meetings, things like that, from a productivity level, that aspect's going to be fine. I think it's all in data. When you look at the data and the productivity and the business assessing the needs and wants, and then they have to review it, I do think that a lot of businesses need to reevaluate that, because service as part of that is going down. We know as consumers of many different companies, you've reached out to talk to somebody about something and you don't get that service because whether it be because of COVID and people have just lost interest and they're just doing it for the sake of doing it, I don't know. But I think there needs to be a review of that and people looking at moving back to the offices for certain types of roles to support their customers and their business.
I agree.
Very good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you bounce off people, don't you? In an office,
yeah, 100%.
If you've got a thing where you think, I haven't heard of that before, you ask the person next to you. I don't get the whole working from home thing. I think that we need to be in the office, and I think that everything works better if you're in an office with somebody. I don't think all the time, but if you want a Friday afternoon or whatever, but I think that you should be based in an office and you should be able to ask other people questions and you should be able to bounce off each other. Yes, 100%.
And
I'd love to see every company. Yeah, go on, Charles.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think it depends on definitely what job role you do. I think that's the most crucial thing. What type of person you are. Are you self-motivated? Are you self-driven? Or do you sometimes need a bit of a kick? There's two different people that one would work well from home and one wouldn't.
Yeah.
And being a mortgage broker, obviously myself, I work from home a lot of the time. And sometimes I'm still working until 9, 10, 11 at night, because that's when I tend to do my applications and my admin. So I just keep going. So it doesn't make really any difference whether I'm in the office or at home. If I was a brand new broker, I would definitely want to be in an office, because you have 20 questions a day and you need to be bouncing off people. You need those other more experienced brokers and other experienced members of staff around you giving you the answers. Where would I place this case? What would I do with this? Once you're experienced and you know roughly what you're doing, you can sort of work a bit more solitary.
Yeah, and I think that might be why, actually, from a lender perspective, that there's more phone calls, there's more questions being asked by brokers, because they're not in the office with their mates and that knowledge share. So therefore they're relying on the basic stuff.
That's it. A basic question you'd have to ring the lender, where you could have just asked.
So the lenders are becoming less efficient because the brokers are asking more questions. So it's an interesting one. I'd love everyone to suddenly go, right, we're all going 4 days back in the office. I think 4 days is right.
So do I.
And
for the high street, Monty, and for the local, and just for the high street, just to bring back people going to your local shops and stuff. I think it's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah,
really
I do. So anyway, I could go on for that for ages. That's another. So how can lenders and brokers work better together then? What do we need to do? Because I still think there's more good than bad. Definitely. In my humble opinion.
100%.
Some people might disagree with that, but that's what I think. I don't think that the people we deal with in lenders are out to shaft brokers.
Nor do I.
Definitely don't believe that.
We have a
great, their very job depends on it. But what can we do better? Because it's not perfect, and I do worry that cracks are appearing.
I think communication, it's good old-fashioned communication. And I think that's getting lost in translation. And I think whether you're a lender who has field BDMs or a lender that no longer has field BDMs for whatever reason, you still need to communicate the tools that are available to be able to allow brokers to do business, and brokers being open to the tools that are available to use. So if you're on hold for half an hour and you've got an A to Z criteria, or you've got a tool on on the website for you to search for criteria, aspects like that. It's having that communication and understanding of what's available both sides. What are the expectations? So if I was meeting you for the first time, Pam, and that was the first interaction we've had, right? What is it that you need from me? What is it that I need from you? And I think when you set those expectations from day one, then you've got that foundation to work from, and you can sense check along the way. And again, with lenders open to feedback, I think brokers need to use that from a positive and constructive, because as a human race, we always talk about the negatives first and foremost, but I think it's about just having that line of communication and saying when things are going great, yeah, we know that's going great, and things will go not so great. How can we work on this? Is it something between you and me directly? Is it something as a business? Let's look at that and move forward. So good old fashioned communication, face to face, that always works in my view.
Yeah, and Kate has put comment, and I totally agree, Kate. Being able to speak to the underwriter directly is important, and having a dedicated BDM.
I always say to my BDMs, just pick up the phone. That's all I want is just pick up the phone. That's it. Yeah. You don't have to be brilliant. Just pick up the phone and help me when I call you. But we have such a nice environment to work in. I love my job. It's just this, Monty's right. There's just a little bit that you want to tweak along your way, because we have such nice people, don't we? We have such nice people in our 100%. Mortgage world. We just need to tweak some of the things along the way. And accessibility and communication, 100%. Michelle.
Yeah, I think on both sides, I think lenders, if they can make sure they've got crystal clear criteria, that's going to save everyone so much time. Because most brokers, like, we go straight to the website, we look at the criteria. Do they do this? Do they do this? Yeah, I want a yes or no. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit grey, isn't it? Or sometimes it doesn't give you that 100% certainty that you need, and that's when you have to then make a phone call, go on live chat. So that would save so much time to get that crystal clear criteria on their websites. And also for brokers, we can make their life easier as well by attending their webinars, reading their releases, to make sure that we are 100% sure how to package this case, how to send it in. Do they want SA 302s? Do they want limited company accounts? Do they want accountant certificate? Whatever it is, get it right first time. It's quicker, the lender's happy, it builds the relationship, we're happy clients. So I think, that would really help.
Can I just say on that as well, I fully appreciate, as coming from a lender's perspective, you have over 90 lenders that you're dealing with over any given time, and so the criteria is going to be very different from lender to lender. So I second what Charles is saying. Use the opportunities to have meetings with us, join our webinars, look at the information we send to you on emails. I know you get a lot of emails, but try and tap into some of those. And again, if there's something that you want to have a bit of a high level understanding or a refresh on, just reach out to us in the same way that we would reach out to you to have that catch up periodically, because I think the relationship between us, and it's almost like we're like a family. So you, as you go on in the journey of whether you're a broker or a BDM, you might change the hat of the lender that you're working with, but we all pretty much know each other. And I think it's just using that to the advantage and just communicating across to each other when in times of need.
I also think lenders need to trust and listen to their BDMs more. Some lenders do not empower their BDMs enough. No.
Yeah.
Because the BDMs are our voice, aren't they? They're our voice. Yeah. The BDM. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we will champion brokers as well. So, and again, we've got friends, family, or people that we've worked with for periods of time. So we'll definitely champion that where we can. And we appreciate working with yourselves.
Good. And someone I know that brokers would definitely appreciate is proc fee on product transfers. If that was to be made on the same level as remortgages and purchases.
Charles, I love you.
I'll have a chat with our powers that be. I'll see what I can do.
Have done it, and it might increase retention rates. You never know. It might increase happy brokers, happy clients.
So I'm not going to get into that now, but yeah, I totally agree.
Got that in there just before the end.
Yeah. So, apart from proc fees, any final words of wisdom to both brokers and maybe borrowers alike in today's market, Pam?
Use a broker. period. Use a broker. Remember banks to use to give us good rates to use a broker. Remember clients to use a broker.
There you go. Bang. Charles.
Yeah, I would just say that in the mortgage industry, our greatest asset isn't the products that we sell and the rates that we have on offer. It's the trust that we can build with our clients and our partners.
Yeah.
Can I hire Charles for an advertising campaign? You've got one of those voices as well. It's just fantastic. Hey, so I mean, it's a bloody, what mic is it?
I don't know. Actually, was it some toner thing? I don't know.
It's very nice. I want the details of that. Let me know the details. Not that I need another mic in my life. I've got so many at home. But yes, brilliant. Love that. Lachelle, last words to you.
I think it's communication, whether it be from BDM to broker, from client to broker, and also just understanding as a customer the true value that brokers add in this industry, and the fact that without brokers, certainly for us being intermediary only, we wouldn't have a business. So I just want to say a huge thank you. And if anybody is from the Midlands, I'm your BDM, so reach out to me if you need anything. But generally speaking, us at MPowered Mortgage, we are open to communication, so do reach out and see what we can do. But thank you, guys.
Very good. Lachelle, like everyone actually I've had from MPowered, I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up MPowered's arse, you are a credit to MPowered, and everyone who's been on has been absolutely excellent and really engaging, so thank you. But we are out of time, so thank you to our guests Charles, Lachelle and Pam. We have started out shouting a star broker of the week at the end of each webinar, so please tag MPowered on socials when you've seen a broker go above and beyond. You can nominate a star broker on the MPowered website. So a big hello today, hello to Kate Joseph at Illuminate Mortgages. Kate turned a tough remortgage and transfer of equity into a success. Her clients who felt despondent after months of obstacles found new hope as Kate guided them throughout, using creative problem solving and earning their praise for going above and beyond. So well done, Kate. You are everything that's good in our broker market. Remember, we are bi-weekly now, so not here next week, but back the week after with another amazing show. Finally, remember, you can listen to all of these on Spotify. Until next time, if you've enjoyed this, I've of course been Andrew Montlake. If you haven't enjoyed it, then I have been the new CEO of Ticketmaster. Until next time, have a great week, and remember, you are all rock and roll stars. Bye-bye.